This is Angela from North Carolina, and I'm not on my way to rob a bank. I was just sitting in the car in the bright light, the sun reflecting off my sunglasses, as you can see. I was just going to tell you a little story, and masks have something to do with this story. When I was a little girl, I was born in 1953, and we had never heard of seatbelts. We all climbed in the car, and we just rode off into the sunset with our parents driving, and would put infants in these little open beds that they would stretch across the back of the seat. The infants did not even have a strap on their body. And so it was 1957, I was 4, when my father got his first car that came with seat belts. And a week later, our mother's car disappeared for a day or so, and when it came back, it had seat belts. But it wasn't the seat belts of today. It wasn't a seat belt like this. It just went across the waist. So if you were in a car that had bucket seats, the bucket seat flew forward and you still died. So seat belts really were fairly ineffective. They did save lives, but not like they do now. So then in the late 50s, Volvo developed the 3-part seatbelt system, which I just showed you, the one that pulls out, pulls over, and it's 3 parts. They started noticing huge lives statistically being saved. Fast forward to Jimmy Carter's presidency, and Jimmy Carter asked all the scientists in America, the medical people, everyone that was an expert, he said, I need everyone to tell me, what can Americans do to make themselves live longer? And you know what the number one answer was? Wear their seatbelt. So some states slowly started passing the law. It was not enforced very well, but it was a law. And then in 1980, there was already the law about your children had to be in the car seat. And you could not leave the hospital without your child being in a car seat, just like today. But that was a brand new thing. So America fought this. When all the states, Reagan, I think it was in 84, said it's going to be the responsibility of all the states to enforce their own seatbelt law, as well as airbags, which made no sense. Why would airbags be an individual state thing? But airbags were still fairly new then. Well, it became an American nightmare of people that said, it is my inalienable right to not wear a seatbelt. Well, the law said no, and as you well know, you will get a ticket when you have a traffic stop and you are not wearing your seatbelt. So, we all fought it. I didn't. In 1977, my father's second wife was going to the beauty shop, and she was going a half mile from home and was hit by a drunk driver, and she did not have on her seatbelt, and she was only going 25, and she was killed. I never drove to the end of my driveway after that without wearing my seatbelt. It really woke me up. So now, here we are, 2020. Half the world believes in a mask. Well, 3/4. Then we've got the faction that doesn't believe it. They think that it's not going to do anything. Okay, listen to the scientists. Listen to the medical experts. Unless you are a medical expert, unless you have a scientific background, you need to listen to the experts, just like we were forced to with seatbelts, which have saved many lives. I know people that have hung upside down in convertibles with their seatbelt saving their life. They save 15,000 lives a year. And we've lost 150,000 Americans. They are predicting we're going to lose 80,000 more by November 1st. It's not acceptable to me. Why are we saying we can lose over 200,000 Americans, and all we have to do is wear a simple cloth covering, people? It helps. It really helps. What? I mean, I'm not going to get on my soapbox too high. I do not consider it a political statement, even though at the end of the COVID experience, I think it would be interesting to see how many Republicans versus Democrats contracted COVID, but of course that is an impossible thing to see, statistically. But please wear your mask, y'all. It's just a piece of cloth. It's not going to kill you. It's not. But all of us are susceptible to COVID. It's an unseen enemy that can strike at any time. And if looking like a bandit, if looking like I'm heading out to rob the drive-thru is going to save someone else's life because I may be asymptomatic and I don't know, by God, I owe it to my fellow Americans to put on this mask. So leave a comment below. Feel free to argue with me about it. This is just something I've been thinking about for a few months. And I just wanted to make my comparison story between how the seatbelts were forced down our throat and they had to statistically prove that we were saving lives. And 15,000 lives used to be considered a lot of lives to save in a year. It is. But if we could save 150,000 or 200,000 because we're wearing a mask, quit being a Karen and please wear your mask. Stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.